I was just watching the press conference between Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier, and it just feels like Conor McGregor has just lost it, man. Like he just doesn't have the wit or the charisma or the slickness that he once did when he was coming up. If you just watch the press conference, Dustin Poirier just seems proper calm, cool, and collected, while Conor McGregor's just trying so hard to be what he once was. Like, I think he's trying to force his anger upon him, and it just doesn't come across as genuine. On top of that, he just doesn't seem like he's there. Like, he just doesn't seem to have that slickness that he once had. I feel like success in a weird way has defeated Conor McGregor. Like, obviously, like, everybody comes into the sport to become very successful, and he has accomplished things that most fighters can never dream of ever accomplishing. I mean, it's ironic when you think about UFC fighters and MMA fighters. You think about them being underpaid and overworked and underappreciated. Yet here you got Conor McGregor, who's the highest paid athlete in the world, and he's beating people that are just unbelievably successful, like the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi, and you got basketball players like LeBron James, even Floyd Mayweather, and these fighters that are prolific for earning life-changing amounts of money. Even Canelo, and these athletes that are just like, they're known to be making stupid amount of money. Conor McGregor's beating them. Like, he's Forbes' highest paid athlete, and I know he made most of his money through whiskey and like other ventures, but the fact that he's on the top of that list and he's beating these other athletes who have endorsement deals and have other businesses that they're associated with is incredibly impressive. And this is an MMA fighter. Like, MMA fighters are known to complain about fighter pay and all of this stuff, and this Conor McGregor's come along and he's changed the sport. He's affected fighters' pay and made fighters make a lot more money and given them more exposure, and he's done a lot of great things. And he's not only talking financially. If you look at what he's accomplished in the sport itself, becoming a 2-time Cage Warrior champion in 2 different weight classes, becoming a 2-time UFC champion in 2 different weight classes. I mean, this is unprecedented success. But the fact is, and on top of that, he fought Floyd Mayweather and he made $100 million in that one fight. So all of this success that he's accumulated after all these years, I mean, can you really blame him for not having the drive and the fire that he once had? Once you accomplish what you want in life, it's very difficult to keep that fire going, and I feel like Conor McGregor just doesn't have that. Now, a lot of people might say, I think this gives us more credit to the likes of a Floyd Mayweather, who stays so disciplined despite the fact that he made all this money. What you need to remember is Floyd Mayweather made most of his money through boxing. If you look at Conor McGregor's got all these business ventures and stuff that he's doing. Like, Floyd Mayweather made most of his money through pay-per-view sales and through boxing. He doesn't run a full-time business. I don't think McGregor runs a full-time business, but he does have business obligations, and obviously he's been very successful with that front as well, because obviously the Proper 12 whiskey brand is selling for, like, I think he's sold for 600 million, and he made 120 million from that. So it's incredible what he's accomplished, and that's not even going into his other business ventures like Mac Life, which is a media company he started, his endorsement deals with all these other companies. On top of that, he's got his own clothing line. On top of that, he's got his own fitness app. He's got all this stuff going on around him, and it must be difficult to be motivated, and especially going up against a fight like Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier's got a hot sauce, but he's a fighter through and through. He's not a businessman. He doesn't have any other distraction apart from fighting. Fighting is all he does. And it shows, because in the last 3 to 5 years, Conor McGregor's fought 3 times while Dustin Poirier's fought 9 times. I mean, it shows where their priorities lay. And I think success is just it's beaten Conor McGregor. If he didn't have as much success as he had, he would be more focused on fighting, and ironically, that's why he's losing. So, yeah, that's my opinion. He's lost his soul to the money, and I don't really blame him for doing that. I mean, when you've come from where he's come from, and that's why he keeps talking about, like, going back to the building site. When you come from where he's come from, and he's come from a place which was very working class. I remember in an interview with Stephen A. Smith, he mentioned that when he was going to go into MMA, like, there was no examples for him to look at. Like, you had Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz, but they were not making anywhere close to the amount of money that Conor McGregor made. I mean, he's broken down so many doors, and he might have done something where, like, there might not be another fighter that makes the type of money that he makes in MMA. They might just say, you know what, this is just literally a one-off. Like, Conor McGregor might just be a one-off. Like, there might not be another. Like, there'll be fighters getting paid well, but not to the level of a Conor McGregor, where he's making literally the amount of money that he's making is just ridiculous. And I don't know, like, if there will be a UFC or MMA fighter in the future that makes that type of money. Even if you look at the likes of Khabib has got a net worth of 30 million. Conor McGregor's making that in just this one fight alone. Like, Khabib made probably 6 million in base pay against in his last fight against Justin Gaethje. That might even include pay-per-view points. With Conor McGregor, that's probably, when you can include pay-per-view points, he's probably making £1 or £2 per pay-per-view sale. With Conor McGregor's probably making £30 to £50 per pay-per-view sale. That's why he's walking away with 30 to 60 million when he fights the likes of Dustin Poirier or these other fighters that he's fighting. So, in my opinion, it's just like he's a victim of his own success. I mean, he's become so successful, and I think this is beyond even his wildest dreams. Like, when he first started MMA, like when he turned professional at the age of 18, and he was on the dole and he was barely making enough money to support himself, and his wife had to help him and all of this stuff. Like, can you imagine him thinking that on one day, no matter how long it took, even if it took 12 to 15 years, he would be on the Forbes list as the highest paid athlete in MMA history? I mean, in sports history, I mean, in 2021, he is the highest paid athlete. And I know it's through other business ventures, but regardless, like, do you think he ever would have imagined making 30 million in one fight, 20 million in one fight? When you so far surpass all your goals and your dreams, it's very difficult to get that hunger and drive back to keep fighting. And the thing is, people mention Floyd Mayweather and the amount of money he's made, but he's making all of his money through fighting. Like, there's nothing else that he's doing. The only fighter that I think you can use as an example is probably Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao's a fighter that's got so much stuff going on outside of fighting. Like, this is a guy who's a congressman, he's a musician, he's an actor, he's part of a professional basketball team, and on top of that, he fights, and he's fighting at a very high level. He's about to fight Errol Spence. That's the only person that I can think of that's actually managed to balance all of this. And Pacquiao is a very special human being. I mean, this is a guy who's legitimately one of the greatest boxers of all time. I mean, he's an 8-time world champion in 8 different weight classes. I don't think that's ever going to happen again. So, and ironically, Conor McGregor was going to fight him if he was to beat Dustin Poirier. That was a fight that was scheduled for him. So, yeah, in terms of everything that he's got going on, and we're not even talking about the other stuff that's negative, like the negative press headlines, him punching an old man in the pub, the rape charges. Like, there's a lot going on in his life, and it's very difficult to keep that focus on fighting, especially when you're going up there against a pure ATG lightweight like the likes of Dustin Poirier, who's accomplished everything. That, just look at the dude's resume, who he's beat. I mean, you're going up there against that type of fighter, and he's unfazed by everything you're doing in the press conference. He doesn't care. He knows he's already put you on your ass, and he knows that you know that you're traumatized by what he's done to you in his last fight. It's very difficult to get out for a fight like that. And I just think the success outside of MMA and in MMA has made Conor McGregor who he is now. He's in a sense a shadow of himself. He's just not what he once was, physically or mentally, but more so mentally. It happens. As soon as you reach a certain level of success, it's very difficult to motivate yourself and find the drive to want to fight and want to push yourself, because fighting in general is just not pleasant. It's not a pleasant type of way to make money, to get punched in the face, to get a man sweating on you while in the octagon, while millions of people watch around the world. I mean, the calf kicks, the brutality of the sport. I mean, look what happened to Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman when their legs snapped. I mean, this is a brutal business. And Conor McGregor obviously mentioned that a couple of times, like mentioned it in the Stephen A. Smith interview when he said he's been a bit too nice. He needs to become brutal again. And I feel like he's saying the right words, but he doesn't really mean what he's saying, and he's trying to force it, and you can see it in his body language. He doesn't, in his own mind, doesn't believe what he's actually saying, but he's trying to. The audio just cut off there a bit. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I think he does have an opportunity to actually win this particular fight, but it's up for him to actually make that decision. He's got to actually want it, and it's got to be a real desire that he has to win this particular fight. He can't actually fake that desire. He actually genuinely has to want to win, and it's up to him to do it. It's up to him to make the sacrifices necessary to want to win. So yeah, that's my thoughts below. Tell me your thoughts below. Do you think Conor McGregor can get that fire back? Do you think he can give a performance like he did against Eddie Alvarez and Jose Aldo and Max Holloway, and ironically Dustin Poirier when he first fought him all them years ago? I mean, can he give a performance like that? Can he actually turn back the clock and just give one more good performance? He says he's got world title aspirations, but that, for me, that just sounds like empty words. I don't know if he actually means that, but we're going to soon find out. The fight's going to happen soon. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Tell me your thoughts below. Like and subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot more content coming your way. Peace out.